Hello and welcome back to the Senior Year Game Plan. I'm your host, Michelle Ehrlich, and I'm with Forest Hills High School seniors Amory Biru and Alice Bao. We are doing a deep dive into one of the most important decisions that they'll make and you'll make as a parent, or if you're a high school student or senior listening to this. It's a very important decision. What comes after you graduate from high school? So the amazing students that I have with me today, they're each thinking about their future and the different paths available in today's discussion. We're not just talking about traditional four-year college degrees. That's not for everyone. We are going to explore two-year degrees and trade schools and certificates, community college, private school, and even the military. So I'm going to ask some tough questions to Alice and Amari, and we're trying to help figure out the best fit for them by discussing this. And so then you guys can get some ideas of your own. So let's jump in. I wanted to bring up, because every week we're talking about potentially new careers being out there with AI. And there's always something in the news coming up relating to the changing of careers. So I'm going to tell you about these new things, innovations that are major that were in the news this week. And then we'll talk about how they would be shaping the future of work. So these are some breakthroughs that are creating new career opportunities in some exciting new fields. We need to embrace it because AI is here, the next level is here, and we need to level up. We need to look at this stuff. So in the news this week, shaping the future of work, we had the there were a few Nobel Prizes handed out this week for peace, for chemistry. So there was one in physics handed out for AI. And this is Geoffrey Hinton and John Hopfield. They were awarded the Nobel Prize this week for their groundbreaking work in artificial neural networks. So that is the foundation of modern AI, and their innovations are going to drive and are driving now the advancements across industries like cybersecurity, healthcare, and robotics. It's creating high demand careers in AI development and machine learning. So then that's not it. I got two more. One was a carbon neutral lithium extraction. So it's a German company that came up with, they developed a new eco-friendly process for lithium extraction. We know lithium is used in the electronic vehicle batteries. And then it's also essential for supporting, if we can do it eco-friendly, then it's supporting the shift to renewable energy. And then, of course, this opens up the career opportunities in clean energy and sustainability. And then the last one I'm going to talk about is a company called Lou Watt, and Lou as in toilet. This innovative company has figured out how to convert human waste into energy and fertilizer using a waterless toilet system. So we don't have to waste all that money flushing the toilet. We can use our human feces into energy. That solution connects careers in sustainability, engineering, and circular economy, proving that businesses can address environmental challenges while making social impact. So now I have some questions for you guys after you hear that. The first one is about AI and emerging careers. So we know that AI is revolutionizing industries from healthcare to robotics. So Amory and Alice, how have you thought about careers in AI or cybersecurity or machine learning? Have you thought about that? Alice, I know you're president of the robotics team. So in that capacity, what interests you about these fields, or you're not interested at all? So whoever wants to start.
I'll start. I'm very open to very inclusive AI because I feel like it's instead of a enemy, instead of it taking our jobs, I think it's more of a aid. It's like a calculator. Like in the in the past we didn't have calculators, and then the innovation of calculators helped us do math that's like way harder, which is like way bigger numbers. I think it's a aid instead of a harm. So I'm like very like I will want to work with AI. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's opportunity if you know about them. You can. It looks like Amarie, your recording has stopped. That's okay. If you know about these opportunities and you can grab a hold of some kind of certificate in some kind of AI or machine learning, maybe it could add to your job prospects more than a traditional career path. Amarie, what do you think? What about you? Have you considered a career with AI or cybersecurity or machine learning?
No, not really, because I do agree that AI could be a help, but at the same time, we do see how people are still losing jobs because they basically think that robots could do it better than we do. I agree that, like, obviously, because they're like technology and robots and AI, they probably have like a brain capacity more than we do and could like a calculator do it in a second while we take maybe 5 minutes to do something. I agree that it is a help, but at the same time, it could pose a threat towards us. I don't disagree or agree overall. It's just that it's a little bit iffy towards me. I've
Yeah.
never looked at a career with it, though.
Right, right. I mean, it's not if robots will take over. It's they already are. So we need to have this kind of idea that if we can't beat them, join them. So we're not going to be able to do away with the robots. Yeah, it is scary about the lack of, well, it's a robot, the lack of humanity. So how do we counter that? We have to counter that with more human. We have to be the best humans that we can. And so we need to not only work on our soft skills, that our human skills like empathy and sympathy, things that robots don't do, but we also have to learn to leverage, like it's as if a calculator comes out and you just say you refuse to use a calculator, you're going to do it all by hand. Or a computer comes out and you say, no, 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 that's where I draw the line. I'm not going to use a computer. Well, we have to upskill ourselves and at the minimum learn, okay, you don't like the computer, you don't love it, you don't like the robots taking over. Nobody does, but we have to learn how get a certification in AI. It won't take that. And then you have that under your belt. I'm not saying do it. I'm just saying that's a potential way to overcome the challenges is to learn more about it, get a degree or certification in something, machine learning, so that at least you can say, well, I'm not loving that robots are taking over some things, but I know how to handle it. So, oh, you want me to fix your robot? Here you go. I know how to do that. So there is that thing. So then we're talking sustainability and clean energy with what I was talking about in the news. I said the Nobel Prize for AI. Then I said there was also lithium batteries that now you can extract the lithium in a clean way. Thank goodness, because we really need that. Demand for new careers and sustainability. What do you guys think about entering fields related to clean energy, like working with electronic vehicles or carbon neutral technologies?
I am one like for climate change. I did a presentation on it not too long ago at the end of the school year, and I am in full support of it. So that news was great for me, and I wouldn't mind working in any field that would promote clean energy in any way, like in anything we do. I think we really do need clean energy. Everyone
Right.
does.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's good if that's something that touches your heart and it's important to you. Then it could be a career that would sustain your happiness. And of course, that's one of the high growth, high demand fields is in sustainability because we definitely need more of that. So, Alice, what about you? Would you be interested in working in something like EVs or some kind of renewable, carbon neutral tech stuff?
I think I would because like I realize how climate change is really affecting the world right now. Even take the hurricane in Florida, for example. That's like also because of climate change and the harm that humans had done to the world,
Right.
which
Yeah.
causes us to like we have to repay the world back by like
Right.
thinking of innovative ways to prevent climate change. I
Right.
think I
Exactly. Like
would.
even in the news, I didn't say, I mean, I could go on. I don't want to say I'm a news buff, but I do take an interest in things that are related to new technology and new careers that the 3D printer, this is going to blow your mind, can make a coral reef to protect the border, to protect the shoreline, or to they can re-engineer stuff to make the fish come back to the corals. Like, this is exciting stuff. We need it so badly. People are walking in more and more to like elementary schools and asking kids, like, how can we solve this problem? Because I think it was back in COVID time that when they had the supply chain issue with the Suez Canal, wasn't it a kid that solved it? They were like, well, the tires underneath it are bubbling it up, like making it float. So get rid of the tires underneath it. And it was like a 9-year-old that came up with that stuff. So, I mean, you guys are the future. So, well, I'm excited. I hope you are, because there are, robots are doing things, but humans can do things with the robots. So, um, what about, would you consider going into a trade? So now we're talking like plumber, electrician, certification program that would give you skills to work in an industry like clean energy or environmental engineering?
Before I decided to major in what I am now, I wanted to pursue mechanical engineering, like hands-on mechanic work, because I like vehicles and I feel like the new electric vehicles, like I said, would be a good thing for the environment and for the world. So I wouldn't put it all in like being a trade, because I would have to be part of the sustainability program as well to connect it in a way, just so I could give back like to climate change. But for the trade part, I would say I did wanna pursue mechanics for a little bit.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, that's another like never going to go away kind of job. That's when when we're talking
Right.
about human stuff, like nobody, even though the cars are electric, the cars are run by robots in the hood, under the hood. But of course, the people still need to do that, and people still need to build things. But I mean, a trade or a certification program could, I mean, that would give a guaranteed income. It's a job that would never go away. As far as if one could get into a union with it, if you can, that's even better pay. But Alice, what do you think about that? Because it's coming up more and more about the trades versus the college, like, because people have proven that they can be a plumber and make a fine career of it, or be an electrician. And especially if you have it as a union job, you have a great employment all the time. Would you consider something like that?
I think it would be great to actually go to a trade school because that way you could instantly get a job instead of having to take like 4 years to get like a career or like a possibility of getting a career. But personally, for me, I would take the longer route. So trade school isn't really my thing, but I would be like open to the idea.
Yeah, right. It
It's
seems
like
like,
my last resort. Yeah.
right. If you have a plan in place that you are able to be provided for 4 years, so that somebody is taking care of you, making sure you have meals, if that's a college, or if you have some way to pay for it, if you live at home or whatever, somebody's paying for the school, then that's great. I think that a trade, if you need to get a career right away and you need to start earning income because of whatever situation you are in, I think a trade could make more sense for somebody that really needs that right now, need a job out of high school situation. So I guess it just depends on where anybody swings, and you only know about your own finances. It's a personal thing. So let's talk about social impact careers, because we talked about Luwak, the toilet that doesn't need water and renews your um, species. But it's so cool. This waterless toilet system is a great example of how tech can address global challenge sanitation. So I'm going to ask you guys, how important is it for you to work in a field where you can make a social or environmental impact?
I think it's like really, really important because in order for the next generation to actually have careers as well, we have to like step in and put our foot down and try to improve our world before like the world like
Yeah.
before
I mean,
before
you
the
guys
world.
inherited a problem and you're
Yeah.
almost like the cleanup crew, like for my generation or my parents' generation that really had no bounds. It was just all about the money and the consumerism and the capitalism gone a wreck. And it still kind of is. I mean, we're not kind of. We're all in the grips of does one just try to make as much money as one can and screw everybody else? Or does one protect? And we have no choice now but to protect because it's a lot of things are ruined. And if you don't, there will be nobody to protect anybody anymore. So therefore, like Alice, I know you're into robotics and potentially engineering. So would a career in engineering or sustainability or circular economy, would that be something that you would consider because it would maybe combine your passion for helping others, which I see that you have because you're here on this program talking to high school students with problems of deciding of careers and for their future? Is that something that you would consider, or you're like, I have to consider it? Like, Michelle, this is why because I have to save the world. Is that the idea?
Yeah, I think like I would because like as part of Green Team, I learned a lot about the environment and how the world is like not so perfect like how I imagined. I thought everything would be really very organized, but instead it's very like not the best. Yeah.
Well,
So
yeah.
I will try to help the environment whenever I can.
Yeah, I mean, like you guys are coming of age in a world of COVID. You came into adulthood in a world of a lot of chaos, a lot of COVID. And even though there's not a war on our soil, there's wars going on. And so, and the climate change and the hurricanes, natural catastrophes, etc., around the world, it's really, I guess, I'm sure, opened your eyes to all of that. All of the problems, and that you know, life isn't so grand and that somebody dipped you in gold. We wish, but even if you were dipped in gold, like the world isn't dipped in gold. You would still need to help. What do you think, Marie? I don't mean to cut you out here.
I agree with Alice on everything she said because if we don't think about like the future and we only think about the now, then what is gonna happen to the generation after us? Like maybe if we just continue the way we're going and we don't try to make a change with climate change, or we don't try to make a change with the way we treat others, because people are getting more aggressive, I would say, and like towards themselves. They only care about themselves, where they're going. And I feel like we should build a better environment for our children and the coming generations so that they may have a good base, not just like we had growing up, but like a better base, because now we have technology and it's going to be very different for everyone. It's a new thing, and then we don't know how it's going to go. We have an idea of how it's going to be in the future, but I feel like we could still plan ahead and basically say where we want to go and make it happen, but we just have to do it and put our foot down to make it happen.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it seems like when one waits for some leadership to come into place to
Right.
put it all together for us and say, now we have a plan, let's do this and that. You
Mhm.
guys have seen firsthand, we all see firsthand how that doesn't come together. And so the way to get it done is to either align yourself with companies that are doing it already or to start to do it yourself. So we're talking about those three ideas that came up in the news, and then led us to think about how we really need to put into our career ideas, new ideas. If you had an idea when you were growing up that you wanted to be a nurse or a doctor or a lawyer or a teacher, there's new ways that all of that stuff has changed that we have to, or you have to now consider that stuff in addition to what your original ideas were. So let's talk about the basics of 4-year college versus 2-year. So when you think about your future career, do you think that a 4-year degree is the only way to get there? Or do you think that there's other better options? I'm not trying to lead you here, guide you here. I'm just asking the question. If you still think that 4-year degree is the best way to go for you, or the only way that anyone should go, that I just wanted to hear your thoughts.
For me, I think the 4-year degree has to be my way because of what I want to do. But for others, depending on what you want to do, it really doesn't really necessarily have to be a 4-year degree. Because I have a friend, she's going to community college, a 2-year school, just to save money. Then she's going to transfer to a 4-year so she could finish, like get her master's and everything, and bachelor's there. And I really thought that was a good idea. I'm not going to do it, but I'm going to support her. For example, I'm not sure exactly what she wants to be. She's undecided, but because of her choice, I know she wants to be something big because her parents have something big as well. I feel like going to a 2-year school, then transferring, and not just making a choice because you feel like you have to make a choice and just choose any school or choose any career. I feel like you have to wait it out, be patient, and just fill out different careers, do your research, take time. It doesn't really matter what people say, what you see people doing. It's okay to not know what you want to do. At the end of the day, it's good. You're gonna figure it out. It's not the end of the world. You're gonna
Right,
figure
yeah.
it out.
And the 2-year, that community college 2-year degree, if you do it first, you're going to have to take those 2 years are basic requirements in college anyway.
Exactly.
Wherever you take them, you can take them at a community college or take them at something that's more expensive if that's what you're.
Mm-hmm.
If so, you guys have a few things to consider. You have the cost, the time commitment, and then the ability to access earning money quickly. So these are, probably the main factors between 2 and 4-year schools. Alice, what about you? What do you think?
Personally, I would take a 4-year college because I feel like if I'm in college already, I might as well take it the full course instead of just like halfway. But I don't think it's a necessary requirement to take 4 years in order to get a good career, because I know there's influential people and very businessmen people, right, that didn't even go to college and they ended up being entrepreneurs.
Oh, wait,
and
you
very
said the
successful.
magic word, men? Yeah, businessmen? Okay. Just, watch out, because we can't just fall prey to Bill Gates did it, or Zuckerberg, or I don't know who is the guy. It was Bill Gates. A couple of them didn't finish college, but they were in college, in the right college, Yale or Harvard or whatever, long enough to meet their what turned out to be business partners. So it wound up for them not what you know, but who you know. And then of course they're cis males. But anyway, we can't compare ourselves to them. But you're right, not everybody has to go to college or finish college. But I didn't mean to cut you off, Alice. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I finished.
Okay, so yeah, what I found, because I went to a prestigious college, I went to George Washington University in Washington, D.C. It's a well-known college, very expensive. It might be one of the most expensive schools in the country. It's between GW and NYU. They're the most expensive in the country. I had a scholarship. I was constantly working. I had a part-time job. I was a full-time student, and I had a music scholarship that kept me just. Bottom line is I wasn't able to network as much as I should have. I believe that in hindsight, if I could do it again, the networking is the most valuable part of the 4-year school, that you get to spend 4 years with a group of individuals that you can't recreate that kind of connection. So if you are going to a 4-year school, I think that the most important thing, in my opinion, about a four-year school is the networking that can happen, the peer support, the alumni support that you get from being part of that community that will help you in the future with your career. So moving from there, what about, you're saying a four-year college, like it makes sense for some people, but it doesn't make sense for everyone. So we know it's not the only path to success. Like, what are some reasons that you might choose a four-year degree over other options? So I mentioned the networking possibility, the alumni and peers. What is there anything else that you think is more important in? Oh, definitely the opportunity to be in research projects that you can put on your resume. Any other ideas?
I think going back to like the 4 year, why I would choose a 4 year college degree. I chose 4 year college degree because in my opinion, I think like if you have more options when it comes to careers, because like if a career requires 4 year degree, you already have a 4 year degree. And if you want to go for a 2 year degree career, it's still open. And I think that is why I want a 4 year degree.
Okay, so you're saying that you could potentially, like a lily pad, that you jump on the 2-year degree, get that first, get that out of the way, start working, and then while after you have that job in your pocket, you go, you're working also. I mean, a
Yeah.
4-year college, I mean, I would hope that, because I have a daughter your age, I would hope that she would commit to being part of that campus life and not start working full time. I mean, I think campus life has a lot of value to it. Like I said, you get to know your peers, you get to know your professors, you get to be involved in projects that even if you were commuting, even if you were a 4-year degree, that you wouldn't get. So there's campus life with or without the 4-year college. There's a 4-year degree. There's also, like I just said, non-campus life. So one could go to a 4-year degree at Queens College, for example. We're here in Queens, but could live at home. So it's still a 4-year degree. So campus life is one thing to consider. It is a time commitment. It is a money commitment to be on a campus for 4 years to get a 4-year degree. So the opportunity cost of not going out there in the work world and spending 4 years thinking about how to think, thinking about how to earn, thinking about life and your decisions. So, and it'll give you more time to decide on your major and access to certain internships. So that's the positive to the 4-year degree. It does offer a lot, but there's different ways to do it. And depending on everyone's financial circumstance is what it will work best for them. Nobody in senior year should be pulling out their hair saying, I can't afford to go to a private school, because we know that private school is not the only option. We know that a 4-year degree is not the only option. There are high growth, high demand careers out there that require neither of them. But let's go back to community college. So we said that that's a possible way to start on the less expensive end. You can knock out your requirements, save your major, whatever you major in, and you might not even know what your major is in. So that's why you are at the community college. You don't want to waste time and money at a private school when you don't know necessarily what you want to do. So like kind of a stepping stone. It's cheaper. You can transfer credits to a 4-year degree later. And so what are your thoughts on that strategy to go knock out your requirements in a community college and live at home?
Like I said before, I do think it's a good idea because my friend is doing it. She was the first person I know that's doing it. I know normally it would be a choice for other people, but when she described her strategy and what she's going to do, I really thought it was a good idea, especially in the sense of saving money, saving time, especially because she's undecided. I think it's a good path for those who are undecided. I feel like it's also a good path if you know what you're going to do, but you still want to save the money, save the time, and then transfer to a 4-year school. It would cut down how much you have to pay in the end, the loans and everything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I do feel like it's a good choice. Maybe if you just want to enjoy the campus life, enjoy like the whole 4 years of a college. Maybe, and then you don't really care about the money too much, but I feel like you should care about the money.
Yeah.
But if you just want to care about college life and the experiences and the friendships, and you want to go to a 4 year and live that life, then that's okay as well.
Right. Because we know that now is an unprecedented time. Like the cost of tuition is through the roof. And so
It's
that's another
crazy.
way that some people might be like, well, I'm not going to get a scholarship because I'm not a straight A student. Not everybody is like you two. And so then you're like, okay, I know I won't qualify for a scholarship, then what? But then there's like, financial aid stuff. But,
Mm-hmm.
but we are talking about debt and the cost of tuition. Would finishing college quickly and avoiding as much debt as possible, so you think a 2-year degree would help get you there?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Alice? Do you have ideas about, like, if your mom said, if you don't wind up getting the scholarship, because they're coming out now, and it's scary because you two are amazing, but I'm sure that there's so much competition. You never really know. What if you don't wind up getting the scholarship? Would you consider trying to avoid debt and going to a 2-year program, or would you take on a student loan because you think it's worth it? I mean, there's no right or wrong answer.
I think it depends on circumstance. Like I feel like I would make a decision when the moment comes instead of thinking it beforehand. Probably I would go student loan
Yeah.
instead of backing out because I think an opportunity, like if I get into a prestigious school, I think like giving up that opportunity is not great because there's still a possibility that you would learn more and you would bond more with this, like network better with the people in a prestigious school rather than like a normal school.
Right. Like a community college, you would be taking the classes in order to get the credits, check the boxes, but it wouldn't necessarily be networking. But I don't know. I mean, maybe, do you know, Amari, your friend at community college, does she or he or they network or have any kind of like club interaction or do something? Do you know if there's any student life at the community college? I can't imagine it would be zero.
I'm not sure,
Yeah.
but she's at the moment she's a cheerleader. She's really into the sports. She's really into her schoolwork as well. She's like a really good student. She's like all rounded and everything. So when she said 2 years to me, I was surprised. I was like, but wait, like really? And then that's when she explained it to me, and I was like, oh, that makes sense because she wants to save the money, undecided. And I was like, yeah, that's okay. But for student life, it would not be okay. It's not as much as you would find in a big school, a big prestigious school, or a big 4 year school. It's obviously not like that. I mean, there are clubs, there are little get togethers, there are stuff to get involved in the community as they have like extracurricular activities and not just like be on school all the time. But it's just not what you would find in the bigger schools.
Okay, yeah, maybe
Yeah.
it's because you guys go to public high school, maybe it's similar to that. Like, if you want a
I don't
club,
know.
you do it yourself. You can make your own, or you can join somebody else's club, like they're trying.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely think that there's a decent community if you go and look for it. But again, you have to be proactive and look for it in the community college setting. I mean, Queensborough Community College here in Queens is a campus, and that's a 2-year. It's a beautiful campus too. So let's talk about trade schools and certificate programs because they can get overlooked. And when we're talking about certificate, it doesn't have to be relating to a trade. Trade is different. Trade is like mechanic, plumber, carpenter. But certificate programs, it can be accomplished in like a year or less. And so again, we were talking about a trade school that you could complete it quicker than a 4-year degree and start earning more quickly. Like even a dental hygienist, is that something that that you would want, either of you would want to do to get something like Alice, you mentioned getting maybe starting to work in that field? It could be not in your field, like dental hygiene is not, I don't to that, but at least you could earn some money. Would that be something you have, or something that you might be interested in? Or do you think that you should just be like singularly focused on whatever major you have decided on already?
I think mostly on my major because I feel like trade schools are good because they're like they're quick and they focus on demanding jobs and they pay well like instantly. But my main concern is that like we have to constantly rely on the stability of the jobs and like the constant demand of those jobs in order for us to actually be having the job. So this is why like I would rather pick my own career instead of like just like trade school.
Oh, okay. So if you're a carpenter, you have to be somewhere where they're building something. I got it. But like they do say that the demand will be high, and so there you will be safe if you wanted to be one of those, like a carpenter. And you might be thinking, Michelle, not for nothing, I go to Home Depot and I see people in a parking lot. You can just hire them. But there's a difference between those people that are working without papers can only go so far, can only be day laborers. There's actually quite a shortage of skilled trade people that are documented, that have the ability to work in the US. There is a high need for them. I mean, it's a possibility. It depends on where everybody's money situation is. So, Amri, I'll put it to you because you haven't said anything yet. If you could start working in 2 years without debt, how would that impact your long-term financial goals?
Without debt sounds great. I would love to do that. But I also want to be able to love to do something for the rest of my life. I just don't want to go take a route just because I don't have debt. I want to do something that I want to love doing. And I feel like having that debt is okay, especially if you're going to be making the money to be able to pay it off. So when you make your choice on a career or going to a specific college, I feel like you have to make that choice. You have to be sure about it. If you're going to be doing it for the long run, you have to think ahead. Because if you don't and you end up changing, you're going to still have to be paying for those classes that you took for no reason, basically. So when it comes to money, when it comes to the future, basically, you just think about what you want and go do the work. And if I was able to find a love in a trade school and take it for 2 years and get paid and be able to live the life I want to live after that, I would definitely take it. Maybe I don't know all the choices out there in trade school, so I can't say yes to it. As of right now, I don't know everything, and what I do know, there's not something that I would choose over what I'm gonna choose at a 4 year. So
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, there's different things to consider about one's ability to network and in a 4-year college, and then of course you want to be rubbing elbows with the Bill Gates of the world and the Mark Zuckerberg. So you want to go to like the highest prestige if you're going to do it. Go big or go home because you want to network with the right people. You don't want to waste your time, and you want to think about everybody needs to think about the cost because our parents might be putting on a smiling face, but finances of carrying school and depending on how many siblings are in the family
exactly.
are really important. And so any way to leverage that. So for example, Alice, who maybe wants to go into engineering, then could maybe start with if she needed to get a part-time job, it would be something like I call it a lily pad, like a low-hanging fruit, something she could immediately get to. If she needed to get a job, would be something in like an AI certificate. And I mentioned where to get them and the different online platforms and the different degrees in another episode that I aired on Friday. I'm going to add it to part of this as a part 2, where I give out like the names of the institutions where you get that. But if you want to be a doctor, instead of waiting for 10 years, maybe it would, depending on your situation, your finances, be easier to get a nurse's degree, a 2-year nurse's degree first, then another 2 years to get the higher nurses, what is it called, RN, and then, or LPN. And then, because if you want to go into healthcare, then maybe you can start to earn small as you're learning how to become a doctor. If you want to go into something relating to engineering or AI, then you could get a low-hanging fruit certificate if at any time your parents said, you know what, I actually can't pay for it. Last year I could pay for your degree. This year I can't pay. So you can pivot into these kind of platforms, or just to say, I'm going to, back in the day, like I go back to, okay, need to learn how to type or something in order to, then you could have a basic, at least you could work with computers. You guys will have to have some kind of basic certificates in something in order to be able to contribute money to your household finances if need be. So let's talk finally about military, because I don't want to say it as, the world is at war and I'm a recruiter and I'm putting you into harm's way. I'm saying it because I'm a veteran. It served me well. I got really great training. It gave me money for school and I served my country. So what about you guys? Have you thought about the military as a career option? And when we're talking about careers, but also mentioned the free education. That's one of the best benefits that one gets from the military is the GI Bill. And so, but you also learn military jobs that translate into high-paying civilian roles like cybersecurity or healthcare or aviation. So have you thought about the military as a career? And what do you think are like the pros and cons of joining the military compared to going to college or a trade school? I know it's a big question, but
From experience,
yeah.
from experience, I found out from my like many people that went to the military, they learn a lot and they change. It's like a turning point. I feel like the military is a key turning point in like shaping people's like characteristics and shaping the way they think. For me, I wouldn't go to the military because I'm not physically fit and I'm just
Oh, they'll change that real quick. You don't have to be. You just have to be
yeah,
ready, willing, and able. Yeah.
no, because for me, I think I wouldn't really go to the military because I wouldn't want to put myself at risk.
Yeah.
And I'd rather just like play a peaceful way to college and pay it myself. But I think the benefits are really good because
Yeah.
it's definitely like going to the military is definitely impressive on like if you put it on your resume, or like if colleges see that you went to the military, they'll be like, wow, this kid is really impressive, and they might accept better.
Yeah, absolutely. I've gotten jobs much easier. I get callbacks and jobs as much as I want with my veteran status. But yeah, I mean, the way that the world is now in particular, or maybe even more and more, is that people are really drawing their lines in the sand. Like they don't want to go to war. They don't want to support war. They don't want to support the war. What's it called? Infrastructure isn't the word, but the war machine. And so if that is absolutely, if it's your conscience saying no war, make peace, not war, then that absolutely for those that, one could be peace loving and also just know that just like AI, there are other factors at play. War is part of the life. Even Sun Tzu wrote The Art of War way back when. Sun Tzu, yeah. No, it wasn't him. Somebody wrote The Art of War way back when because it exists then and it exists now. It's part of the life, and we need to secure ourselves, our borders, and it's just part of the world. So, Amory, what do you think? I mean, it's tough. It's really tough because just because I was in the military doesn't mean I don't want peace. Of course, I want peace.
I did think about the military maybe sophomore year because I have some family that's active. He's in the British Army. He's a sergeant. He's a professor as well, so they moved him up. So when I spoke to him about it, I thought he would be maybe supportive in a way, but he wasn't. He was like, "Don't go." He told me it's maybe not the best idea. He did say about the pros and the cons. I think they have their sides, and I think for me now, I don't want to go anymore because he opened my eyes to what it's probably truly like to be out there. I mean, I would love to fight and I would love to bring peace in that way. I also would love to do it from not on the battlefield or not active. So as of right now, anyone who wants to go, I'm in full support of them. I just don't think I will put myself out there. So I do agree with what Alice said, just doing it in a peaceful, non-fighting, active way.
Right, right. Well, I mean, there are so many ways to be a part of the military without being anywhere near the front line. I was an intelligence analyst. I was nowhere near the front line. For example, there are healthcare fields, everything. I mean, it's a full on, every service is needed that you can imagine, and every type of training is available. So there is that, but of course, it's not for everyone. But we said that education benefits like the free school, and not only free school, but after you serve for, I think it's 4 years active duty, they not only give you tuition, but they give you X amount of per month to live. And in New York City, that's a huge amount of money per month that they give to live. They give you, they want you to serve, and then then you have that 4-year college experience. I've met people that have done that. They got out already, and now they're going to school for their 4-year. But I mean, so then they're older, a little bit older, wiser. They've already served 4 years, 6 years in Air Force, wherever, Army, whatever, and then they're a full-time college student. So there's and it's for free. There's a possibility of that. There's also JROTC, which is on the college campus, that is a way to help you pay. I think it gives you tuition, free tuition, and then after you go through your 4-year degree, then you become an officer and you have to serve. Maybe you have to serve back your time, I think. If it's a 4-year degree, you have to serve 4 years. So there's different ways to serve. There's different ways to remain off of the battlefield, and to recognize that we do live in a world where war is for certain. And so we need to protect ourselves, and we can't deny. I wish someday there will be a world with no nuclears and war. But in the meantime, we have this stuff, and it's a huge infrastructure, the military, many ways to get in, many ways to benefit yourself and to help society. So after the military, I want to talk about private schools and also scholarships, because some students like to attend a private school, even though they're more expensive. But there can be scholarships or financial aid that might be available. So what do you think might be the pros and cons of private education versus public school or community college?
I think one of the disadvantages of a private school would be the cost, because I do look at private schools because I wanted to go to a Christian school. I do have many schools on my list that I'm applying to and communicating with. They're very expensive, and just looking it up online, I was like, I don't know if I want to do it anymore, but I'm still gonna do it just to see where I get. I don't necessarily have to go, but I'm going to apply just to see what I get. But the pro about it is that the school I want to go to is Sisters Christian, and there's not really any public Christians that I did find that I would want to go to with the majors I want to pursue. I feel like because it's private, because they have everything that I wanted to have, I feel like that's what makes it like just top of my list.
Okay, so then we're talking like lining up your education with your passion. You think that that's important. Alice, what about you? We're talking about private school, and we mentioned about the networking opportunity before. So do you think that it's worth it to look at, even if you think you can't afford it, that maybe there'll be some scholarship or financial aid that you might fit into? Do you think it's worth it to go to private school?
I think like if money wasn't an issue, I think private school would definitely be the ideal option because the classes are like smaller and that way you could like network with everybody. But the cons of like private school that I'm like concerned about is like competition. Because definitely if there's smaller classes, there's like bigger competition because everybody basically knows each other. And I would still choose private schools because even though it lacks in diversity, I think smaller class sizes would mean like more personalized attention and support, and there will be more options to like extracurriculars and advanced placement options. So that's why I would choose private schools.
Right, right. I was listening to something this week because my daughter is also applying to colleges about the SUNY and the CUNYs, that's state of New York, but other whoever's out there not in New York, honors programs that even though there's the private schools have their unique networking opportunities, but public schools also have honors programs where you're treated with, they have like specialized programs where you're treated special, that it's smaller classes, or they do. You have certain places where you study, your group studies and other people don't. And so there is that option. If you can't afford the public school, there are some specialty nuances, just like in your high school, Forest Hills, they have the STEM program. It's not just everybody is taking the same classes. They have specialized programs for this and that in the public four-year schools as well. So I had also asked Marie, and so Alice, I'm asking you too about lining up your passion with your education. Do you think that's important for you to do?
I think when it comes to finding careers, I would include some passion. I don't think everything would be like so picture perfect, where if I'm passionate about something, I'll definitely get it. I would pick a career that I'm okay with and I'm okay working hard towards. So those are probably the careers that I'm gonna get in the future.
Right. So, I mean, it's a choice, and how maybe you can marry the choice together between a career you love and then, but then there's also the ones that offer stability. Then there's ones that offer a good pay. So, Amory, where do you fall on that spectrum? Or you don't know? Is what you love the most important, or are you really thinking more about stability and good pay, or do you need to marry the three of them?
I did
Ideally,
try
right?
my
Yeah.
best to put the three of them together
Yeah.
because, like I said, I didn't want to be part of that Christian community. I didn't want to be part of a school that had kids interested in the things I was interested in. I know I'm not gonna find everything all in one place. I probably did. I was looking at schools for like the past month. I do have a few that are, I'm not gonna say exact picture perfect, but they're very close to it. The only thing is the cost. If the cost was not an option, I would definitely have a choice, and everything else would just be like at the back. I would just be done with it. But because I have an issue and because I have to think about the full picture and I don't want to be in debt for the rest of my life, I have to think about the big picture and I have to weigh, do I really want this or is this more important for me?
Yes, it's a lot. It's a lot on your guys' plates right now to try to combine your passion with practical careers, and then to throw in the mix, if you could do something non-traditional in the meantime, if you needed the money, like freelancing or starting a business or getting a certificate or even going into the military. Like if you needed to do that, do you think you have some kind of more knowledge now of that you have options of doing those things in order to, it is not just like a 4-year degree or bust, like you could make it on your own if your financial ship family sinks. I
I
don't mean
feel
to
like,
laugh about it. It's a real thing, but I mean, if
yeah, yeah,
somehow nobody can pay anymore, what are you going to do? You should try to, I hope, get some kind of certificate in what you like, and try to make some money and try to take more baby steps towards what you want.
I agree. That's a good choice to make. When you were talking about the military and going more in depth a while ago, I really did think that more people should know about this because I didn't. I didn't know that you could maybe go to the military, then come back and then go to school. I know people do it like after like maybe 10 years in the military because I see all the people go to school. But after 4 years and then get money for a 4-year degree, I think that's a really good idea for those who have a hard time or know they're going to have a hard time paying for school. So I feel like there probably are more options to ways to pay and not just do it like right away. Maybe you're gonna be set back a few years, but at the end of the day, I feel like if you don't want the debt and you know this choice is better, but just taking a little time off, that's gonna be good for you.
Yeah. Okay. Right. It just depends on your situation, and we are
Yeah.
now like we're making decisions, or you guys are making decisions based on your current situation, hoping that it'll stay, that you can afford whatever it is that you want, and just looking at the practical ideas of how to get to that higher ground that you need to be in and get to that the happy place. We know there's no one size fits all answer. So I guess I would ask in the last a bit, what's the most important to you when deciding what to do after high school? Is it about the shortest path to earning money, the lowest cost, or maybe following your passion no matter what? What do you think?
I think the most important thing for me, I mean, there are other many important things, but the most and the main one would be picking the right career, maybe 2 years into college. I don't want to waste my time doing something or paying for classes that I'm probably not going to need, even though I know if I do maybe take classes I don't need, at least I learned something. So, 'cause I always look at the bright side, at least I learned something from this course. But the most important thing is choosing the right career and making sure I'm set up for the future after college. And am I going to find jobs for this? Am I going to
Yep.
make enough money for the kind of life I'm going to live in maybe 10, 15 years? I just want to make sure that I'm able to support my family, my parents, my siblings, myself, and do something I love and I know I'm going to be loving for the rest of my life.
Right. Yeah. So it's so important to look into what is the kind of trends of the careers, what are the high
Mm-hmm.
growth, high demand, high salary, and what from those could I live with? Could I
Right.
even love, hopefully? So what do you think, Alice?
I agree with Amari, and I'm like mostly concerned about like what career path to find as well because I really don't want to like start halfway and then end it halfway. So I have to start another career and
Yeah.
then I have to waste like another 3-4 years of my life to learn about this one career that I could have started earlier. But my main concern is basically how am I supposed to find that career of that like that I really want to achieve and like where should I really start?
Yeah, it's so much information out there. There's so many different factors, especially and there's so many unknowns right now about where the future is heading, where technology is heading. We can, like I said, work on our soft skills of how to be more human and empathetic and better listeners and be better and more humane to each other. That's stuff that robots can't take away from us, thank God. And then to think about the bigger picture of what you could fathom, what you could see yourself in as far as careers. Like, for example, the military, stripped of all of the training and the education benefits or whatever, it's about being on a team and being with a lot of people all the time. And if you like that, if that invigorates you, then it might be something that you could work around that if you like to be around people, you love the energy of being on a team, that's a teamwork thing. And so there's more factors than just getting a degree. We know there's more factors to college than just that 4-year degree. It's like, what else can you get? Can you gain of value from a 4-year college, like the networking possibility? From a 2-year degree, you are saving money. And from getting into a certificate, you might be free training as an apprentice, as an electrician. There's free training out there and you can start earning right away. So it all depends on where our start points are, I think. And that's all very personal to you and your family and your finances. But nothing is free time or free money. And so we need to just think about what are the opportunity costs. When I make this one decision, I'm closing the doors to this. Am I okay with that? So we learned about some alternatives to traditional 4-year paths today. We're talking about it. It's a conversation. It can go on, but there is an end. And I hope that everyone out there is starting to see there is no single right path, whether you choose 4-year degree, a 2-year degree, a trade school, certificate, military. The important thing is to find a path that makes the most sense for your goals and your situation. And remember that the future is in your hands. And by exploring, by asking questions to me, to any adult who has an interesting career in any of your circle, even if that's a social media circle, ask them some questions about how they got into it. Explore your options so that you are sure and informed about your decisions. So next time, we're going to be talking about finding different scholarships because there are so many of them and grants, and it doesn't have to be about how well you did in high school, how well your grades are. There's too many of them, and they have to do with other things as well, and grants to pay for whatever you choose. So we're going to make sure we check that box next week. And so until next time, thank you, Alice. Thank you, Amory, for pushing forward with your senior year game plan. It certainly is helping a lot of others to think about what really will make sense for them as well. So thank you so much. And I'm
Thank
going to
you.
stop recording. Take care.